Behind the Clooneys, glamorous red carpet appearances and picture-perfect public image lies a complicated reality. Insiders claim that for months, George and Amal have been dealing with growing tension, with stressors ranging from career obligations, parenting duties, and drastically different emotional needs. According to a family confidant, the couple's most recent disagreement quickly spiraled into a heated exchange that left George visibly upset and distressed. It wasn't just another argument, the insider shared. It was different this time, raw, unfiltered, and deeply personal. George looked like he had been emotionally knocked off his feet. The disagreement allegedly occurred late at night in their Los Angeles mansion. Amal, exhausted from a recent international case, reportedly confronted George over what she called his emotional withdrawal. George, already battling silent health concerns, is said to have lashed out over feeling misunderstood and unsupported. The emotional blow-up pushed both parties to the edge, but it was George who crumbled under the pressure. Just hours after the argument, George reportedly began to feel intense pain in his abdomen and chest. Initially believing it to be stress-induced discomfort, he attempted to sleep it off. But by morning, his condition had worsened dramatically. He was pale, sweating profusely, and barely able to stand. A panicked housekeeper immediately dialed 911, and paramedics arrived within minutes to find George in a semi-conscious state. He was rushed to a top Los Angeles hospital, where he was immediately placed in the intensive care unit for emergency evaluation. Doctors quickly determined that George had experienced a severe medical episode, but what truly shocked everyone was what the tests revealed next. A concerning irregularity in his scans that pointed to a possible cancerous growth. According to hospital insiders, George underwent several rounds of imaging and blood work to determine the nature of the abnormality. Specialists were brought in to assess the situation, and within 24 hours, the Clooney family was confronted with a terrifying possibility: George Clooney might be facing the early stages of pancreatic cancer. Doctors have not confirmed a formal diagnosis yet, but the discovery of a growth near the pancreas and alarming test results have ignited an urgent response from medical staff. A biopsy has been scheduled, and George is under constant monitoring in the ICU. What makes this even more heartbreaking is that George was all alone during the initial hours of the scare. Amal, shaken from the earlier argument, had reportedly left the house that night and has been staying separately ever since. Whether she has since visited him in the hospital remains unclear. Sources close to George say he is emotionally devastated. The fight with Amal, compounded with the sudden health scare, has left him in a fragile mental state. Friends have described his demeanor as somber, detached, and deeply reflective. George feels abandoned, said a longtime friend. He's battling what could be a life-threatening condition, and the person he loves most isn't by his side. That's more painful than any diagnosis. Hospital staff noted that George has remained mostly quiet and has requested limited visitors. His only regular communication has been with his assistant and a few close family members. The once vibrant, charismatic star now lies in a hospital bed, contemplating not just his health, but the fate of his marriage, his family, and the future he once envisioned so clearly. As George fights for answers in the ICU, many are wondering, where is Amal Clooney? The celebrated human rights lawyer and mother of their twins has yet to issue any public statement or be photographed near the hospital. Some believe she is still processing the emotional toll of their recent argument, while others speculate that the couple may be going through a silent separation. A source close to Amal suggested that she is deeply worried but unsure how to approach the situation. The emotional complexity of their marriage, combined with George's sudden health crisis, has created a wall that even love may struggle to break through. But others argue that this is the time for unity. Whatever happened between them, this is life and death, said a friend of the couple. George needs Amal now more than ever. As of today, George remains in the ICU under observation. Doctors are hopeful but cautious. The biopsy results expected within the next week will determine the next steps. If the growth is malignant, George may face surgery, chemotherapy, and an entirely new chapter in his life, one filled with uncertainty. But whether or not it's cancer, the emotional scars of this experience have already taken a toll. The man who has given us unforgettable performances, supported global humanitarian causes, and inspired millions now faces the most personal and terrifying role of his life: a man confronting mortality, and possibly doing so without the woman he once called his greatest love. This is a story that's far from over. The Clooneys' future is uncertain, and the days ahead could bring either healing or heartbreak. For continuous updates, verified news, and emotional insights as this situation unfolds, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on. You won't want to miss the truth as it emerges, because some stories are too real to ignore.